Hi, I'm Dr. Sara and Dr.
And I am Dr. Alan Altman, and we're here on Love Bytes. All right, you've got Dr. Alan and Dr. Sara here today, and okay, I want to ask you something. You know, in a gynecological office, young or older, and I'm talking more now, women in their 20s as patients, will come in and say, you know, I just don't want to have sex with my, let's use husband for now, but we mean partner. I don't want to have sex with my partner like I used to. The fire is gone. Yeah. How do I get this fire back? What do you tell them, Dr. Sara?
Well, I actually, first of all, I tell them that the fire would never come back the way that you know it. So that's just set that straight right off the bat. Because, you know, if you don't manage your expectations or, you know, the person's expectation, I found that to be very hurtful later on. Because if, right, you have that.
Expectations are the whole ball game. They're the whole ball game.
Absolutely.
What do you expect out of it?
Yeah, and I'm absolutely sure that people come to you and expect that you give them a pill and it fixes everything.
They
right?
all say that.
Yeah.
Give me that pill to increase my sex drive.
I wish there was a pill. Actually, I don't wish for that pill. You know why? Because I think sexual desire should come naturally, in a sense that it should be a reaction and to the stimulus that you get from your partner, right? So if your partner knows that you can pop up a pill and then get ready for sex.
Say that quickly 3 times, okay? Well, now let's get back to the original premise, and that is, how do I make it better? And your first suggestion is you're not going to get it back to what it was, because that newness, that grungy you get inside when you're new with a partner, that doesn't come back. We can't get that back. I do it from the point of view, looking at gynecology and sexual medicine. I try and explain that sex changes, and what it used to be as far as, wow, I see him and I get really turned on and I want to have sex. And the way it changes, and when you explain this to clients or patients, they begin to realize that, hey, that's where I am. And I think you know what I'm talking about as well. And that is that sometimes that spontaneous drive, hey, I want to tear his clothes off, is no longer there. And it becomes a more responsive drive or reactive drive. And what I mean by that, for the people who are watching, she needs to be turned on first, and then the desire will come. You know, she's sitting here, as far as I'm concerned right now, I'd be just as happy, if not happier, reading a book. But he wants to have sex. So he begins, and she understands where the relationship is in this, and she allows the stimulation to occur. She is open to being stimulated. And whatever he is doing, however he is managing it, he begins to stimulate her and begins to get her aroused. Then, with her arousal, she goes, oh, I like this, I want to do this. So the arousal came first instead of that desire. So when women come in, young or older, and say, I don't have that same spontaneous turn on, the real answer is you don't have to have that spontaneous turn on. And you question them, do you find that if you get aroused by your partner, then you get turned on and you want to continue? And they go, yes, and we say, that's where it is right now. Thoughts about that?
Absolutely, and that's the differentiation we make between a disorder and not, right? If somebody comes to my office and says that I would not get turned on with anything, then there's an issue. But if you have a partner, and without putting too much pressure on the partners also, it's not as if it's all his responsibilities or, you know, her responsibility for that matter, depending on whoever their partner is. It's quite important for the person to understand and expect in the real world. Because if you look at the media, as wonderful as it is, I watch a TV and I like it that women, you know, go in and have all these urges and desires and all that. But that's not in the real world. That doesn't happen, that a woman comes and just riding a bus and all of a sudden for no good reason she gets turned on. When you see that in men...
Well, my wife got turned on a bus for me. That's how we met. So, you know, I got to discredit that right away. Go ahead.
That's beautiful. Good for you. After 39 years, I hope it's still the same.
Absolutely. Well, different.
Different, absolutely.
Got to be different.
So one thing also, after getting past that expectation mode, you just to set expectations right, I usually work with my individuals or couples just to help them understand what was the meaning of sex back then and what is the meaning of sex now.
That's perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
So that actually sets them free, that, oh, okay, so that's the meaning of sex. And sometimes I say you need to have maintenance sex. Sex is a way of communication, right? It's not a big deal. Sex is not a big deal. It could be a way of communication. It could be a couple coming home, chit-chatting. You can have chit-chat sex, right? And then you can have more romantic, candlelight, whatever sex. So you don't need to make such a fuss out of it that end up in my office. I would love to see you, but, you know, don't do that to yourself.
And I hear from time to time, you know, there's sometimes where I'm not interested, but I'm happy to do him. I'll just do him and get that done with, and he's happy, and I didn't need it, so I'm fine. Yeah. And then there are times where I just want him to do me. And it, you know, it's different kinds of sex, as you're saying. That's important. And just the reassurance is so important to these folks, hearing that, oh, okay, well, then that's normal.
Yeah.
Well, now some will say, well, wait a minute, I want to get that back to that original early stuff where I had that excitement. Well, it's going to be different, okay? And we'll get to this more next time.